You're at Thanksgiving dinner. Your Uncle Bob leans over. So, you saving for retirement yet? And before you can answer, when I was your age, I was putting away 20% of every paycheck. Bought my first house at 26. You just need discipline. And you're sitting there, nodding politely, while your brain is screaming. Because Uncle Bob's mortgage payment in 1985? $440 a month. Your car insurance costs more than his entire mortgage. But sure, Bob, tell us about discipline. I'm Sam, and today we're figuring out why retirement advice from your parents' generation sounds great until you actually try to do it with your bills. If you've ever nodded politely during money advice while internally combusting, hit subscribe. We're about to make this make sense. Okay, so you're scrolling at like 1 a.m., which is when all good financial decisions happen, obviously, and you see this girl pop up. She's maybe 24, talking about how she maxed out her Roth IRA, bought a condo, and still vacations in Bali twice a year. And you were sitting there eating cereal for dinner thinking, are we in the same economy or did she inherit something? Because here's my math. After rent, student loans, car payment, insurance, groceries, and the basic cost of existing, you have got maybe $180 left at the end of the month. So when articles say just save 15% of your income, you are like, 15% of what? The imaginary money you don't have? When you can't make it work, you start thinking you're the problem, like everyone else cracked the code and you're just failing at being an adult. And that's where I'm going to stop you, because you're not the problem. The advice is just from a completely different universe than the one you're living in. Let me show you what I mean. Uncle Bob graduated college in 1983. Total student loans? $2,100. He paid them off in 18 months just by having a regular job. You graduated in 2019. Your loans? $43,000. You'll be paying until you're 45 if you're lucky. Bob's first apartment was $320 a month, about 17% of his paycheck. Your rent is $1,650. That's nearly 40% of your take-home profit for a place where you can hear your neighbor's entire Zoom calls through the wall. Now here's the part that makes my eye twitch. 2 years after graduation, Bob bought a house, $89,000. His down payment, $8,900. He saved that in 14 months. That same house today costs $540,000. To save a 10% down payment on your salary with your rent? Check notes, about 12 years, if nothing goes wrong, ever. No emergency vet bills, no car repairs, no surprise root canals. Oh, and one more thing. Bob's job came with a pension, literally free retirement money just for showing up for 30 years. You got a 401k pamphlet and an email from HR that says, good luck figuring this out. So when Bob says, I saved 20% and still had plenty left over, he's not lying. In his world, that actually worked. You're just not living in his world anymore. But wait, it gets better. By better, I mean worse. Here's what Uncle Bob's generation didn't have to deal with. Health insurance. Bob's employer covered everything. He never thought about it. You're paying $240 a month for insurance with a $5,000 deductible. Do the math, that's $2,880 a year just to have insurance, plus the first $5,000 of any actual medical costs. You're spending almost $8,000 a year before your insurance does literally anything. Bob paid zero. Then there's what I call the app tax. Bob had a landline, that's it. You've got internet, which you need for work, phone, 3 streaming services because everything's on a different platform now, cloud storage because your phone's always full, that meditation app you swore you'd use, and like 4 subscriptions you forgot exist until you see them on your statement. You're getting nickel and dimed to death by apps you forgot existed. Oh, and here's my favorite. If you're a freelancer or contract worker, which tons of you are because one job doesn't cut it anymore, you know what you get to do? Pay both halves of Social Security tax. That's an extra 7.65% that just vanishes. Bob's employer paid that for him automatically. You get to pay it yourself, while also buying your own health insurance and tracking receipts like you're running a Fortune 500 company. And car insurance? That's doubled in the last 5 years alone. Bob's not dealing with surprise $220 a month insurance bills that used to be $110. But yeah, Bob, tell us more about discipline while your house appreciated $500,000 in your sleep. Okay, enough complaining. Let's talk about what actually helps in 2026. First thing, and this is going to sound backwards, but stay with me, If you've got high interest debt, paying that off is retirement planning. I'm serious. If you're paying 7% interest on student loans, crushing those loans is a guaranteed 7% return on your money. Most retirement accounts don't even beat that consistently. So if you can only do one thing, debt first isn't delaying retirement, it's being smart. Uncle Bob didn't have to choose between paying off debt and saving for retirement because he didn't have debt. You do, so your path looks different, and that's completely fine. Second, forget 15%. Just delete that number from your brain. Start with 3% or 1%, or honestly, whatever doesn't make you choose between retirement and groceries. Because here's the secret nobody tells you. The habit matters more than the amount when you're just starting out. You're building the muscle of money leaves my account and I don't touch it. Once your loans are paid off, once you're not hemorrhaging money on moving costs and security deposits every year, once your car is paid off, then you bump it up. You're not behind. You're in a different phase than Bob was. That's it. And here's the actual strategy for increasing it. You finally pay off that $280 car payment, don't just absorb that money back into your budget. Take $100 of it and route it straight to retirement. You are already living without it. Or you get a $2,000 raise, don't lifestyle inflate. Add $50 a month to your automatic transfer. You won't even notice it's gone. Now here's the part that actually made retirement feel real for me. Stop thinking about it as saving for when I'm old. Start thinking about it as paying future you's rent when you can't work anymore. Because that's what it actually is. Future you isn't some different person living in a retirement home doing puzzles. Future you is you, just with bad knees and gray hair. You'll still need to pay rent, buy groceries, keep the lights on, have internet, buy toilet paper, all the same boring bills you have now. The only difference, you might not physically be able to work 40 hours a week anymore. And nobody's coming to save you. Not the government, not your kids, not Uncle Bob. He'll be busy spending that pension you don't have. Just you. That's it. When you frame it like that, it stops being this vague future problem and becomes really obvious why it matters. Last thing, automate it. Whatever amount you decide, $25, $50, $100, set it up to leave your account the day after you get paid, before you see it, before you make decisions about it. Your brain is shockingly good at adapting to "this is what I have" when the money's already gone. Look, I need to be real with you about something. Here's what happens if you do nothing. You hit 70, your knees hurt, standing for 8-hour shifts makes your back scream, but you've still got rent due on the 1st, still got bills. So you're working the register at Home Depot, not because you want to stay active or social, because you have to, or you can't eat. And you're watching 25-year-olds walk through and thinking, I really wish I'd just saved $50 a month back when I was you. Don't be that person. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to give you a clear picture of the stakes. Because retirement for our generation probably looks different than Uncle Bob's. No pension, no house that magically went up 600% in value in your sleep, no work until 60, golf until you die plan. Maybe you work part-time in your 60s doing something you actually enjoy instead of something you tolerate for a paycheck. Maybe you build skills now that let you freelance or consult as you get older. Maybe retirement means flexibility instead of full stop. And honestly, that might not be the worst thing. Bob worked a job he hated for 30 years because he had to. You might actually have options if you start building them now. But here's the key. You gotta start building those options today. Even if it's small, even if it doesn't look like what the 1985 playbook says it should be. Do what you can with what you actually have, in the world you actually live in. Not Bob's world, not the world finance influencers pretend exists. Your world, with your rent, your loans, your reality. Because future you, the one with worse knees who still needs to pay rent, is counting on today you to do something. Not everything, not perfection, just something. Hit that like button if this actually made sense. Subscribe for more money advice that applies to your real life, not Uncle Bob's highlight reel from 1985. And drop a comment. Tell me, what money advice have you gotten that made you want to flip a table? I want to hear the absolute wildest ones. Seriously, some of you have stories that need to be shared. All right, see you next time.